Here I am back with another video for you today and introducing another new house on the channel. It's JAZEEL Perfumes. How many of you knows this house? I'm going to talk to you about 4 fragrances from this house to let you know which ones are my favorites out of the 4. And also, JAZEEL is sponsoring one full bottle giveaway of one of the fragrances, and I'm going to let you know all the details on the giveaway. So if you want to find out about JAZEEL and participate in a worldwide giveaway, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today I'm talking about JAZEEL Perfumes. And I've known about this house from early 2020. In fact, they had reached out to me to do a video or, discuss their fragrances on my channel here. But one thing led to another. It's end of 2021, and I'm finally getting around to, having you guys learn about this house. Took me a while to learn about the fragrances as well. They're very, very luxury. Oud focused somewhat, most of them are, not all, most of them are, and also very, very, Middle Eastern styles. So there's some intense experiences here, and I'm going to let you know all the details about each of the fragrances. 4 fragrances: Ghala, we also have Heyam, we have Shouq, and then finally we have Wid. So 4 fragrances, and as I said, they're very luxury. I'll let you know about them. But before I do, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed to the channel, please do click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So how many of you knows this house? Have you sampled their fragrances? What do you think about them? If you do know, let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out. These 4 fragrances are from a collection called Love Collection, but JAZEEL just launched a new fragrance and a new collection called the Imperial Collection, and the new fragrance is the Palace, which I do not have here, but as I said, I have the 4 original fragrances. We're going to start out with Ghala first. Ghala is the most gorgeous oudi rose fragrance, but I think some of you might think it's a little animalic. There's a lot of oud in here. This is the priciest of the 4 fragrances. This is my favorite of the 4 fragrances. Really, really love it. It's retails 100 ml for $4.25. Yes, it's very, very pricey, but really it's a very, very syrupy, sweet rose with very animalic oud experience. Lots of it, and it's very, very highly concentrated, highly concentrated. A little goes a long way with this one. And this fragrance out of the 4, as I said, is my favorite of the 4. And out of all 4 fragrances, I'm not 100% sure about the Palace, but the 4 that I'm talking about today, this is the only one that's not clear bottle. And if you can see the bottles, they are so beautiful. Their detailing on the bottles and the back, gorgeous. Really, really beautiful bottle. I think out of a lot of the fragrances I've discussed, the new houses I've covered on the channel, I think JAZEEL makes some gorgeous bottles. And I really do love the one that's, the gold one in comparison to the clear one, as you can see. But the detailing is the same. Very, very, just beautiful, very luxurious fragrance bottles for me. And of course the smells are also very luxurious. This one, as I said, is a rose oud combo, but it's using 2 kinds of roses and 2 kinds of oud. So basically it's a rose oud overdose. And rose oud for me are some of my favorite fragrances because they blend so beautifully together. This dry, animalic, oudy, woody kind of note blends beautifully with jammy rose, and that's exactly what we get here with this particular fragrance. So Ghala features Kalakassi oud, Indian rose absolute, Turkish rose, Patchouli, Incense, Ambergris, Sandalwood, Vetiver, and Cedar. You do experience a lot of the oud here. It's overwhelming and can come off animalic. And I've had people test this around me, and they seem to think it's a little animalic, but for me, I don't experience the animalic parts about this one as much because the rose in here is so overwhelming. And it is a very jammy rose. It's very, very syrupy and thick. You can actually kind of experience the texture of the rose in here, and as I said, it's jammy. So there is a kind of like a jelly-like consistency with the rose here. So it's thick, it's dense, and in addition to the 2 ouds that are in here, it's a little overwhelming and a little goes a long way. So very, very interesting that they have used this kind of oud called Kalakassi oud, which I'm not too familiar with, but I'm most likely the combination of the Kalakassi oud and the Indian oud in this creates for an animalic experience. But as I said, for me, I'm not getting much of an animalic. I do get it, but it's not overwhelming. For me, it's tolerable. You might want to double check before you swing for a full bottle, because it is pricey fragrance, and it is my favorite. It's pretty close with the next fragrance I'm going to discuss with you, but this also features the patchouli. It's there, you do experience it, and I like this. It does remind of black oud because it's got oud and rose and patchouli. It's a combo, but you'll definitely notice the difference between this and something like that, because there's those animalic touches, and it's not as dry as black oud. This one to me acts very, very jammy. The rose in here is very jammy, syrupy, thick, dense. You definitely experience that. I mean, you can compare the two and you'll see the noticeable qualities. But once you get past the roses, the oud and the patchouli, there's a little bit of incense in here. I do experience some smokiness, and of course ambergris comes in as well for that kind of aquatic, marine, amber, woody kind of a experience. But it does get animalic even further, but not as much. Again, I'm not experiencing it overwhelming. You might yourself experience it overwhelming animalic, but I'm wearing it and I'm loving the way it wears. It's very, very long lasting, and the smell is fantastic. With a little bit of more woods in here, like sandalwood, a little earthy, grassy vetiver, and cedar. I think it's a top-notch release. The only negative about this one is the price tag. It is very, very pricey, but still it's my favorite fragrance from the four I'm talking about today. So this is Ghala from the house of JAZEEL. Let me know if you've tried that one. I'd like to find out. I recently featured it in an Incense Rose fragrances video. Go catch that video as well. But either way, that's my favorite of the bunch. So I didn't mention the name of the perfumer for Ghala, but it's Ali Alzaabi, who I'm not too familiar with. But he's done a great job with this fragrance. But the second fragrance, I do know the perfumer. The second fragrance I'm picking from this house as my second favorite, but very close to the number one. It's Heyam. This one right here, and this is the fragrance that JAZEEL is sponsoring for a full bottle giveaway. Heyam is my second favorite. This one retails for 100 ml $285, and the perfumer for this one is Maurice. Of course, I know this guy's perfumes. He does some great jobs, great fragrances, and of course he did a great job with this one. Heyam is mostly a leather for me, but very, very dense leather and a little animalic. But you've got lots of tobacco, and it's tobacco that's dry. And I'm not getting much of an ashy tobacco experience. I'm getting more of a pungent, dried tobacco leaves kind of an experience, but very, very pungent. Maybe there's a little smokiness in here, but not. But it features leather, tobacco, cloves, nutmeg, gin, bergamot, orris, cedar, sandalwood. Orris is key here. In addition to the leather and that pungent tobacco leaves experience, the fragrance does get powdery. You do notice the iris note. There's a little bit of spice in here also from that cloves. I pick out the cloves a little more than the nutmeg, but they're both in here to give you a little bit of a contrast with that kind of like earthy, like woody, grassy, leafy, dried tobacco leaves experience, and of course the leather. But an overall really, really great fragrance. It's not a sweet fragrance. I wouldn't call this like a tobacco fragrance that's going in the direction of tobacco vanilla. There's not much sweetness here. There is sweetness, and I think we get the sweetness a little bit from something like the nutmeg, the cloves, and then maybe perhaps the gin and the orris note, but it doesn't get like tobacco vanilla-esque kind of sweetness, so it's not that kind of a fragrance, because leather to me doesn't get much sweet, and of course that tobacco leaves in here is not much sweet either. So you're experiencing more of a I'm not saying it's a savory experience, because there is some sweetness, but it's just not too sweet. But the combination is great. I really, really love the way this fragrance is composed. You know, it's very, very masculine leaning. It's intense, a little animalic. It's spicy. It's warm, but there's also fresh about it. So, and if I'm saying fresh as in it's not a fresh fragrance, it's not all warm leaning, so it's not going too warm spicy, even though we've got the cloves and nutmeg in here. Great, great fragrance. This is a really, really great fragrance. And again, I want to point out the differences between the bottles. They're very similar, except for Heyam is a clear bottle and the Ghala is not the not the clear bottle, of course, it's the gold bottle. Gorgeous bottles though. I really think they did a great job with what they put on here and on the front there. And of course the caps, I should show you the caps as well. They have the logo of the brand on top here, as you can see. Anyway, that's my second favorite fragrance, Heyam, and then stay till the end to find out how to participate for your chance to win a bottle of Heyam. So third favorite fragrance is called Shouq. I should tell you, I like 1, 2, 3 the most, and for some reason number 4 just did not work for me. So it's not a fragrance I would crave, but it features a note that I'm not a big fan of. Perhaps that's why I don't like number 4, but I think number 1 is really, really great. Number 2 is really, really great, and this one's also really, really great, but I like them in this order. This is Shouq, same price as the previous fragrance, 100 ml, $285. I could not find a perfumer for this one, but this one actually looks gorgeous. The color of the juice inside this particular bottle is really, really gorgeous. And this design in the back, man, I love looking at that. It kind of goes into like an Art Deco design theme that I really, really love. I love these bottles. They're really gorgeous. Some very, very sexy bottles as well. Classy, all of that comes to mind. Also very, very luxury. But Shouq features the notes of Bulgarian rose, Indian sandalwood, gurgeon balsam, cypriol, oud, musk, geranium, lily of the valley, and vetiver. So this one, once again, it's a woody, rosy fragrance. It does have oud, but it's not as oudy as this one, first of all. It's also not as animalic, if at all. There's some animalics there, but it's very, very light. And also, this one does get more ambery than in comparison to Ghala. So it is definitely a different wearing experience, even though they kind of utilize similar notes, right? So Bulgarian rose is king here, along with the Indian sandalwood, and you also have this balsamic note of gurgeon balsam, all blended beautifully. But there is a contrast in here. Cypriol, whenever I smell that, it contrasts with a lot of the typical notes of like sandalwood and Bulgarian rose. It's very, very noticeable with this one. And then finally, there's some oud touches. You do experience it, and again, it's not an animalic oud. There's a little bit of a rosy, citric, kind of minty geranium touch in here as well. It's really, really a wonderful fragrance. But again, my favorite is Ghala, Heyam is second, and then Shouq is number 3. This one seems to me something that I've smelled a lot more of. And even though I've smelled Ghala before, I feel like what they've given us, the version of that kind of a fragrance, is so top-notch, high quality. But this one, I feel like it's similar to other fragrances I have, and that's how I've ranked this in this particular order. But I'm not saying it's a bad fragrance. It's really a great quality fragrance. Wears really heavy. All these fragrances wear really, really heavy, intense. A little goes a long way. They are pricey fragrances, but they're also very, very luxury and gorgeous compositions with the most beautiful bottles as well. I really love these bottles. I just can't say enough about them. They're just amazing. I just love them. And last but not least, the fourth fragrance I'm going to talk about, and my least favorite, sadly, is Weed or Wid. Wid, I think, is what it is. Same price as the last 2 fragrances. Of course, the priciest one is Ghala, but the rest of the fragrances are all the same price. This one didn't do it for me, unfortunately, but this one's also created by Chris Maurice. I think this has, I know it has melon, and I think it's because of the melon note that I don't care for. Melons tend to go aquatic, marine to me, and I think this is the reason why I don't like this one. But Wid has notes of musk, melon, mango, oranges, magnolia rose, cedar, jasmine, and amber. So this is the first time I've heard of magnolia rose. I love magnolias. I didn't know there was such a flower called magnolia rose. So is it a magnolia, or is it a rose, or is it a kind of magnolia rose? I don't really know. So I was very, very challenged to find out what this particular flower is. I think it's part of the magnolia family rather than the rose family. But in the end, it's a very musky fragrance experience and very aquatic and kind of watery, ozonic, marine styling. But it does go a little tropical, and it's also not... It is complex, but it doesn't wear as complex because it wears very ozonic, fresh, and aquatic marine with the musk in there and the melons. There's a little citrusy touch in there as well. And then the florals are very, very light. It doesn't get very floral to me. And I think because they're so non-distinct florals, Magnolias to me is not a very distinct floral. So I think because of that, it kind of blends in to create a kind of a very not so distinct kind of floral touch to the fragrance. There's some woods in there as well, a little amber, but mostly this fragrance is about is musk, melons, mangoes, and oranges. I think that's pretty much what you experience with this one. Sad it didn't work for me. It's not that it's a bad fragrance, it's not something I really like. Again, melons are not favorite notes for me. Perhaps that's why I'm not digging this one, but maybe there's fans out there that might dig this one. This is Wid from the house of JAZEEL Perfumes, and my fourth favorite from the collection. Again, Ghala is so good. Some people might find it Animalic. I'm not experiencing too much of an Animalic touch. Heyam, second favorite, amazing, really, really great fragrance created by Maurice. Shouq is also really, really great. And then the last fragrance is Wid. Again, the brand JAZEEL Perfumes is sponsoring one full bottle giveaway of Heyam. For subscribers of this channel from the world, please make sure you're subscribed. And then to participate in the giveaway, let me know what you liked about this video and why you want to win a bottle of Heyam. That's all you have to write down. The third thing you do have to write down is what your country you're commenting from, and if you're from the USA, which state you're commenting from. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching another preview of another new house on the channel, JAZEEL Perfumes. Let me know your thoughts on this house. Are you a fan of the fragrances? Do you like the fragrances? Have you sampled them? Or are you very, very curious? Put some comments down, I'd like to find out. Other than that, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Goodbye.